What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from International Racing League IRL F2 round 5 here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Canada. And I got Jared Fosbury sitting in the booth with me today.
Good evening, guys.
Jared making the announcement last week that he was going to hang up the controller for the season and going to start working on his racecraft using a wheel and come back hopefully stronger next year. Jared, how's things looking for you so far going into the next season?
Well, next season is a while away since the new game, of course, and the handling model is apparently the same, so I'm getting grips to the wheel. I'm still a bit slow. I was actually meant to be racing F2 today, but I didn't want to be a hazard on track to the drivers, and it wouldn't be fair for them, so I give somebody else a seat for today. But the pace is getting there gradually. You just got to be patient and work on how to use a wheel properly on the game, because it's not like actual real life. You can't drive how they do because it's actually slower. So, yeah.
Well, I want to say that's a good, mature decision from you to not be on track and not be a hazard to the other drivers. We saw Ivan Brito make a very similar decision last year, where he was struggling very much so in F2, and decided to take a step down to F3, and then later that season actually came home with his first IRL win. So a good, mature decision on your part. I know the drivers would appreciate that. And speaking of the drivers, we'll run down the driver lineup. What we have so far: Lux 044 Mark is Joe Hollis in the McLaren. We've got Sam Thompson in the Ferrari. Kevin Harrison is championship points contender in the Alfa Romeo. Luis Wassman in the Racing Point. Ozone Nola in the Red Bull. Andre Yamil in the Haas. Points leader T. Jonas in the Mercedes, along with his teammate Bjorn Langfell. Paco Suarez, coming off of last week's epic win at the Monaco night race, will be in the factory for Renault. Thomas Mumford in the Toro Rosso. Can Vilhoon in the Racing Point. Shay Fox is in the Williams. G. Russell 89 is Diego Valesco, who's got a 5-second time penalty that will be added on to his finishing time at the end of this race, so that could be a factor as well. PSC Kelvin is Nelson Santos, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's him actually. I've got the spreadsheet here. PSY Kelvin is Nelson Santos. Yeah, that's right.
And then Ryan 55X is Ryan Hareen. And Harry Cooper is in the Alfa Romeo. Jamie Griffiths has yet to select a vehicle. And then IRL Neon is Jared Fosbury joining me in the booth. And we go from the slowest track on the circuit to one of the fastest ones here in Canada. As a driver, you've had a week to make the adjustment, but how much difference is it going into this round than last round?
There's a lot of difference. Like, there's not that many tight corners. Like at Monaco, you had that tight hairpin, and the steering and the handling model around there is not really the best. But here, you can flow through the circuit and get some good racing overtakes and that. But there is a little issue we kind of do with track limits, so there may be a few guys getting some penalties today. So you've just got to adjust and get used to the track quite quickly. If you don't, you could actually be disqualified by penalties. So.
And speaking of penalties, I was informed today that Maxie Wilcox has a race ban for today's event, causing a collision at the hairpin at Monaco. Oh, it's a season ban. Season ban for Maxie Wilcox for deliberately taking out another driver. So we will not see Maxie Wilcox anymore here in IRL. G. Russell 89, that was Diego Valesco. As we said, he's got a 5-second time penalty that'll be tacked on to his finishing time at the end of this race. And Eduardo Merida, who is not with us today, but he does have a qualifying ban for the next round. He does attend. And actually, no, it says he's here. He must have just joined.
He made it. Yeah.
So Eduardo's got a qualifying ban that he will have to abide by. That's going to give us 18 cars for today's race. And I see rain here for the qualifying. Now, I know F1 had a wet race yesterday. Pretty tricky track in the wet conditions, especially since it's not a permanent circuit. It's a public course. I mean, is it a little difficult heading into the shaded, wooded area, if you will?
Well, yeah, I think that's like turn 4 and 5 and 6. It is very tricky in that section when it's raining, because there isn't a lot of grip with people who run no traction, who used to wheel, some people can struggle around there, as we did see some of the F1 drivers struggling in that section on the track in the wet. So it is quite tricky with the intermediates, but they're actually not. Oh, for some reason it says Jonas on soft, but he's actually on inters. But yeah, it depends how the track evolves, really. It could be drying off near the end of quali, so we could see some guys making mistakes. We also could see people not making mistakes. We'll just have to wait and see.
And Reese Marsh joined us briefly in the live chat, but he's off to race in the F3 race. He participated in SRL last week and was an F2 reserve last year, but he's down to F3. We've also got Luis Wassman, Brandon Glover, and T. Jonas all on the live chat as well. So any predictions heading into a wet qualifying? It's usually the great equalizer, but it doesn't look like it's very heavy right this second. Everybody's out on the intermediates. Any takers on who's going to snatch pole?
I think it's going to be Kevin or Tijonis, because those two are very good in the inter conditions, but don't count out Paco. I think he's going to also be there. But I think Kevin and Tijonis are going to be the top two.
And that is a great point. Kevin Harrison is a master class in the wet. He displayed that multiple times last season. As we're watching Thomas Mumford currently, his first car across the line to start a timed lap. He's throwing that Toro Rosso around as he heads through 1 and 2. But Harrison, a great wet weather driver, and obviously T. Jonas has put on a show. Oh, we've already got a retirement. That is Joe Hollis.
Who's crushing World Champions.
Wall of Champions claims another victim, and that's the first one for F2 this weekend. But T. Jonas, really, he's the points leader. He's got an 11-point lead over Kevin Harrison, so the points battle for them two is pretty close. But T. Jonas has been really consistent. He's had a podium in every single race so far this season. I'm sure he'll be looking to do it again today.
Yeah, that is true, of course. You know, those two have been at the top. Unfortunately, to be honest, with the penalties he did get applied to him for not, I believe, sending footage or something like that in the Stewarts. He got 10 seconds, and unfortunately he did drop down the order, so unfortunately he lost his podium. And I believe he actually lost some points to Kevin there, but today is redemption of him, of course. He is quite quick at Canada, as I have seen him doing 8 flat in the dry, so he's been very quick, and apparently the weather may be a bit different later in this qualifying.
So Thomas Mumford comes across the line 1:25.11, and quickly the times drop. Andre Yamil was right behind him at a 1:19 flat. Shay Fox comes across at a 1:19.2. Can Vilhoen 1:19.4. Bjorn Langfell 1:19.9. So Mumford put a lot of effort into that qualifying run. He was really throwing that car around, but it was all for naught as he's already dropped down to 5th in the running order. We'll pick up Paco Suarez as he's coming out of... Oh, we've got a car around on the front stretch. Suarez is going to go around him. And Suarez is 1:20.064, and that is T. Jonas, who lost it coming through the Wall of Champions complex, and he's got damage to the right front part of that wing, so we'll have to come around, get a new wing and a new set of shoes and see what he can pull off. In the meantime, we're going to pick up Luis Wassman, who's side-by-side with a Ferrari here on a qualifying lap. That's a little interesting to see. Coming out of the turn 2 area. Oh, and he's really throwing that car around and struggling with grip. Bounces it off the wall. Yellow flag, sector 1.
I think that's just for Tijonis. I think he's made a mistake, and I think he's letting people through.
Taking it slow, trying to come back in from his crash on the front stretch. Luckily, he didn't crash himself out.
And it's definitely a good idea that I didn't race today in these conditions.
From practicing with the wheel in the dry, I'm sure that's a bit of a handful in the wet.
Yeah.
You know, Wassman's coming down the backstretch. Obviously, no DRS enabled in the wet conditions.
Big lock up there for him.
Oh,
and his lap's invalid.
Yep, his lap's invalid. Cuts that last corner a little too much, so that's going to end it for him. Pick up Sam Thompson in the Ferrari. Sam was, I believe, right behind Luis Wassman. That was the Ferrari he was getting around. Oh, and Nelson Santos has retired from the session. Oh, and Sam Thompson having some rear issues. That car almost wanting to come around. Oh no, one of the Williams behind him has gone around. Oh no, that was Luis Wassman. That was the racing point of Wassman. I just caught the tail end of him going nose first into the wall, and he is done for the session. And now Harry Cooper is disqualified from the session. And I have to imagine that was probably he lost the car and went backwards on track for a little bit and immediately disqualifies you for that if you go backwards on the racing surface.
I actually think he was stuck on the curb because he wasn't moving at all. There was a Williams what went off, and it looked like he was just stationary. Also, no, I didn't get the best entries through Wall of Champions because of Kelvin's car. He was a bit uneasy with it. And speaking about Ozone Noah, it's his debut race today, and he says if he has a good race and likes the way everybody drives, he may become a full-time commitment driver to IRL, as he's currently in turn 10. So that happens, what time he may do.
And Ozone Noah,
I believe that's...
he is from HTA, hit the Apex Racing League. He started there a couple of weeks ago. So good to see him joining another league. Puts in a good time, lap 1:24.97 for 8th, good enough for quickest. I'm sorry, good enough for 8th quickest.
I'm quite surprised how many retirements we've already had and a disqualification in quali.
1, 2, 3, and 4 cars all going to be starting at the rear of this grid, which is kind of good news for somebody like Eduardo, who, despite the qualifying ban, he won't set a time, so he'll essentially be up in the running order versus those guys that have crashed out.
That is true, of course.
Pick up Diego Valesco. Looks like he's going to come across the line to put a time on the board. He hasn't set a time yet. And 1:24.51, he is good enough for 8th, so he bumps Nola down to 9th. And here comes Bjorn Langfell. He's going to come across the line for another lap. And a 1:19.472, so that's good enough for 4th. But Andre Yamil, great time by him, a 1:19 flat. Next closest driver, Shea Fox, 0.2 of a second off. So that's a great qualifying effort by Andre Yamil.
Yes, I'm just on board with Jonas right now. He's really struggling in the inter conditions. I thought he would be adapted. He may be running a dry setup then as well. But he's really struggling. Like, as he said, that woodland section may be tricky for some drivers, and he was just sliding, like the rear was just really loose. As Jamil, so it's a new fast lap, 1:18.8, so it's the first one breaking the 18s.
Wow, he really just put a stamp on this wet qualifying session, but it does look like the rain's starting to subside a little bit, so 8 minutes left to play in the session. We'll see if the track gets dry enough. Maybe somebody will take a stab at it with the with some slicks. We got Eric Pettington on the live chat with us, along with Jeremy Pope. He says, have fun, it's dry in the F3 race. So F1 and F2 were both wet races, and looks like F3 is going to be dry.
It's very interesting then. It was full wets for the guys for F1. It's intermediate exposure and it's dry, so it's gone through all the weather.
And it looks like Paco Suarez, it says mediums on his tire data.
Yeah,
he's still in the pit lane, though.
That is interesting. Maybe he may have some information to us that it may drive us as a Red Bull. I think that's Nola who's just gone out of the way. As Can sets new fast lap, 1:18.8.
Wow, Can Vilhoen, and they have been really strong in qualifying. Racing Point has this year. They've got 3 poles. In fact, they had 3 poles in a row until last week, where Ryan Hareen walked away with the pole from Monaco.
Yeah, it's the Racing Point team all were up there. Like, the second in the constructors was 6-7 points. Like, in the constructors, they're going to be a solid team to beat. But just in like the drivers' standings right now, Can and Louis have just been making a few errors in the race, which has kind of affected them.
Yeah, they have not been able to capitalize too much on their qualifying efforts. I mean, Canville Hoon does have a couple of podium finishes. Luis Wassman, he's got a podium as well, but their average finish is not in the podium section. It's more mid-pack than anything else. So good for the team points, but individually, as you said, the driver point standings, they're mid-pack for sure. Pick up Ryan Hareen as he's coming out of the hairpin and down the backstretch. Last week's pole sitter, unfortunately, did not walk away with the win. Ryan Hareen got called out in many of the safety cars and virtual safety cars and yellow flags that we had last week. He ended up coming home 8th.
Yeah, Lance, it stopped raining.
And yes, it has. So it looks like Paco Suarez making the right move. He's switched over the mediums. He hasn't left the pits yet, but he's adjusting the car and put the mediums on there. Now, from a driver standpoint, you've got 5 minutes left to play. Do you go out on medium tires, or do you take a gamble on softs? I mean, track temperature is not going to be too terribly high. Do you try and take advantage of that for the softer tire?
Yeah, that is true, of course, with the conditions it needs. It depends how quickly the track does dry out. The track could dry out really quickly, as we have seen in the past, but it could also dry really late, and the softs and the mediums and the hards will not work, and the inters will still be faster. So it's kind of a risk for the drivers to choose what tyre do I go inters or do I go dry, especially with only 5 minutes remaining of the session.
Yeah, it doesn't give a lot of time for the track to dry out, but I got a feeling somebody like Paco, and we see Jamie Griffiths has got soft tires on his car. He's still sitting in the pits. I feel like some of these guys are probably going to be coming in, switching over, and maybe waiting out those last couple minutes to see if this track dries out. But if everybody's in the pits, there's no cars on track to make that racing line a little more clear.
Yeah, that is true, of course. There is 2 drivers right out on laps right now. As Kevin is come to the line, he's been in 19 flat, goes 4th. So he isn't up top yet. He's still behind Jamil, as Can and Ryan then. So 2 Mercedes-powered cars are 1st and 2nd right now.
And pick up T. Jonas. T. Jonas is running down into the hairpin now. See if he comes across the line to try and set another time, or if he's going to take his chance and dive into the pits. And you see a lot of guys starting to switch over to the slick tires. Andre Yamil's got soft set on his car. Sam Thompson, who we haven't talked a whole lot about. Diego Velasco, or Velasquez, I don't know what his last name is. And Jamie Griffiths is the first car on an outlap on slick tires, so this guy's going to be the guinea pig. Everybody's going to be watching his time, and he already slapped the wall a little bit coming out of turn 2, or 2 and 3 complex, I should say.
Yeah, it looks... There isn't spray on the weight tyres, so it does look it's dry, but the track might be really cold for those softs. So he's going to have to get a lot of heat in them to make them work.
This is going to be the driver to watch. You see everybody else is in pit lane right now. No drivers on track except for Jamie Griffiths.
That's interesting. They may go out maybe to around about 2 minute mark.
Yeah, they'll probably go out with just enough time to come across and start a last-ditch effort pole run.
As Williams is now leaving the pits.
So we'll hop on board with Jamie Griffiths, see what he can get done. Oh, no! And as soon as we go on board, he loses it at the Wall of Champions. And that is going to ruin that for him. Yeah, he hit that awfully hard.
Is that Convict's Chris Ryan chat?
Yes, that is Convict's Popeye, the infamous Chris Ryan. I believe has he done F2 or is he F3?
I don't know. I don't even.
I'm not
sign up for another season.
I am not 100% sure if he did or not. I know he was dealing with some personal issues last year and kind of stepped away from the racing community for a little bit, but.
Well, Chris, if you haven't signed up for this, the league, unfortunately I can't invite you, but if you do want to sign up, go to Twitter, IRL-F1 or F1_IRL, and there's a Discord link, click that, and then do 3 time trial laps and show us your pace, and we can put you in the correct division, and then you will be a reserve at the moment. As Ryan is about to start a flying lap then, the first one actually not to mess up the World Champions on medium compounded tyres.
So we'll take a look here at Ryan Hareen and see what he's got. And Jamie Griffiths has retired from the session, so he was the first one out on slicks. It didn't work out for him as he tried to get the power down coming out of the Wall of Champions on a hot lap. And Sam Thompson's now retired from the session as well. So not a good qualifying day for Ferrari as we watch the Williams of Ryan Hareen. And down into the hairpin. Time is running out, so Ryan, I believe, is going to be the first guy to set a timed lap on slicks. So he will set the benchmark. I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to outdo the 1:18.8 set by Can Vilhoen on the intermediates. It looks like the track is fairly dry at the moment. As long as he doesn't invalidate his time. And yeah, you can see he picked up the pace a lot. He's going to come across the line on the 1:13.1. Wow. So that is the benchmark. 5-second difference. Shay Fox, his teammate, is heading into 4 and 5, 6 complex.
It's currently purple.
Coming down to the hairpin. Williams taking the medium tires for their laps. Be interesting to see what guys like Han Vilhoen or Andre Yamil can do on the soft tires, as well as Kevin Harrison. A 5-second difference on medium tires. Softs could go even a second quicker than that. Ooh, and Shea all the way out to the wall on that one. It's going to come across the line. And Shay Fox, 1:12 flat. So 1.1 seconds faster than his teammate Ryan Hareen.
And here comes Langfeld then. Nice tight. Oh, he's invalidated it.
Oh, he invalidated it at the last corner. So he's going to be stuck at a 1:19.4. That's going to drop him big time. Got guys coming across the line. Diego Valesco is third quickest. T. Jonas second fastest.
Even softs. It's very interesting. As Kevin doesn't improve that much either. What about Can though? Can took pole.
If he did, it was at the last second. I didn't get to catch it.
Yep, Can got pole.
And Can Vilhoen with another Racing Point pole position at 1:11.967. So Can Vilhoen, Shay Fox, T. Jonas, Ryan Hareen, Thomas Mumford with a good qualifying effort, Diego Valesco, Kevin Harrison, Andre Yamil, Bjorn Langfell, and Paco Suarez. And you see here, Langfell, Suarez, Sam Thompson, Ozo Nola all set their times on the intermediate tires. And then 13th through 18th is all no times or disqualification. Nelson Santos, Jamie Griffiths, Luis Wassman, Joe Hollis, Eduardo Marita, and Harry Cooper. No time set by some of those drivers. Griffiths we saw try to set a time. Retired after banging his Ferrari into the wall very hard, and as you said, surprised he didn't lose a wheel.
Oh yeah, as we did see in the F1 tier that one of the Haas did the exact same, and he did lose a wheel, and that was unfortunately Casper. He lost his left front, as we can see it's dry.
And it looks like we got a nice sunny day for race day, so that's good to see. So this race is going to be all about pure pace. Now, Jared, maybe you can give me some clarification on this. I know that they have to do a 2-compound run, but what tires do they have to start on since it was technically a wet qualifying session?
I think they'll get a free choice of tyre because of the wets, I believe. And with the Williams team qualifying on mediums, they could do a one-stop, doing mediums to hards, while everybody else who qualified on softs will be doing a two-stop strategy. Unless you didn't make it in the top 10, they'll get a free choice of tyre anyway. So the strategies could be a two-stop, I believe, soft, medium, medium. or it will be soft, hard, if you can try that stop, or medium to hard. But it's very interesting what people may do on strategies.
So it sounds like the Williams team might be sitting in the catbird seat if they start on their medium tires and switch it over to hards. So here we go for the formation lap. So Vilhoun starting on pole once again as he snatched it away. That's his second pole position of the season. Shea Fox is going to be starting in the second spot. See if he can put the car on the podium. He had a DNF last time out, came home 16th at Monaco. T. Jonas is your championship points leader starting in third. See if he can extend his points lead today. And Ryan Hareen coming off of a podium, I'm sorry, not a podium, but a pole position last week. He's got a good chance of snatching a podium today. He'll be starting in the fourth spot. Thomas Mumford with a great qualifying effort to start in fifth. He's had a couple of DNFs this year, so he'll be looking to put some points on the board. Diego Valesco has got that 5-second time penalty that we talked about earlier. That will be added to his total race time at the end of this race. So he's going to have to watch out for in-game time penalties as well, as that will drop him further through the field. Kevin Harrison, championship points contender, 11 points back of T. Jonas, is going to try and close that points gap today, but he's got his work cut out for him as he starts in the seventh spot. And Andre Yamil was very fast in the wet, but not so much in the dry. We'll see what he can do if he can work his way through the field, put some points on the board. Bjorn Langfeld is going to be starting in ninth for the Mercedes. And Paco Suarez coming off of a big win last week at the night race at Monaco. See if he can work his way through the field. His former teammate is with me in the booth. Sam Thompson is going to be in the Ferrari in a bad qualifying effort by Ferrari today. Sam Thompson in 11th. Jamie Griffiths is in 14th. Ozo Nola making his IRL F2 debut. See if he can work his way through the field and put some points on the board. Nelson Santos coming off of a DNF as well in the Renault. Now, is he going to be a permanent Renault driver for Paco Suarez?
That isn't confirmed yet. That could be a possibility. It depends how my wheel pace goes. As there's a few guys on the medium tyres as well, as I do see. But I don't know. I might be racing next week for Paco in the Renault again. I did say I'd retire at Monaco, but with the wheel pace, if I can get up to speed, I could be in F2 still.
And to finish out the running order, we'll get back to that later because that's all going to change. 5 red lights. Waiting on the 5th one to go out. The lights are out. Time to run. What you brung. It looks like we got a little bit of a glitch here. No cars have gone anywhere. The lights are out on my stream.
Yeah, that for me, I think it's just delayed.
There we go. And they are away in a puff of smoke. Time to run what you brung. And the Williams are off and running. Oh, there's already contact between Mumford and T. Jonas. And Jonas has jumped into third. But Thomas Mumford has already got damage. And we've got Ferraris flying everywhere. Luis Wassman getting caught out in that. Trying to stay out of trouble. He's in a Ferrari sandwich right now.
Jamil is lagging a little bit, as we can see the Red Bull there of Nola just easily trying to get past some seas of Langfeld right now. I think Langfeld spun it. Yeah, Langfeld's round. And there's another car who's just well.
So we've got Bjorn Langfeld. Looks like it might have been Harry Cooper that had some contact. So Harry Cooper's all the way back to 19th. So Bjorn Langfeld. Oh, and a big move here. Kevin Harrison trying to get to the inside of Diego Valesco.
Diego has to remember that he has that 5-second penalty as well with this race, so he needs to try and not get any penalties in today's race because it will add on that 5 seconds as well. Jamie
Griffiths side by side with Paco Suarez for the 10th spot. Suarez sticks it to the outside. And he makes it work. Great move. Andre Yamil pits. Oh, my goodness. 4 wide almost as they head down into turn 1. And Harrison trying to make that work. And around the outside of turn 2, here comes Andre Yamil. Harrison almost left that door open. We've got a yellow flag, sector 1. That is Luis Wassman.
As Cooper and Langfeld go in their pit stops. And it looks like Harry Cooper's going to try a one-stop, possibly on those hards.
That is a long way to go on hard tires.
I think he may go hard to softs though, just to be safe. I don't think those hards could go to the end.
So a lot of shuffling going on mid-pack. And we're getting ready to start lap 3, and that is going to open up the DRS. So Vilhoun is your leader to the tune of 9/10 of a second over Shea Fox. T. Jonas is running in third. Ryan Hareen is running in fourth. Thomas Mumford is getting under attack, and he's about to get passed by Diego Velasco. Oh, and Mumford's going to dive into the pits.
I think it's a 5-second penalty as well with that.
And now Ozone is going to the inside of Diego. And a great move by Ozone to move into the 5th spot.
Yeah, I've got to say, Ozone's had a great start from the start. He was like, I think, 11th or something in quali, and he's already gained 6 positions. And he's literally on a mission right now to try and possibly even get a win or podium in this race.
It looks like he started 12th, maybe. He's gained 7 positions overall. And the big loser in all that was Thomas Mumford, who's now lost 11 positions.
Well, he's on the softs as well, so he will be doing a 2-stop strategy there. But don't count out the Williams or Pakistan and Jamie.
And here goes Kevin Harrison. Oh, and Harrison makes contact with Diego. Harrison got a little bit of a shoulder check from Diego. I don't think it was on purpose, but nonetheless, quite a moment there as Harrison's going to make that pass. And now it's side-by-side drag race down the backstretch between Paco Suarez and Andre Yamil. Oh no, and Suarez makes a little bit of contact with him.
I think that was due to lag there, as both of them were a little bit jittery, as I've noticed recently in the F2 lobbies. They've been a bit jittery, and it isn't because of horse connection. I think it's just where everybody's thinking, oh, there's a McLaren round.
Oh, round goes the McLaren. He's got contact with Andre Yamil. That's Diego. And now one of the Ferraris tries to dive to the inside. That's Jamie Griffiths. That's going to move him up into the points. Oh, and he's still side by side. Oh no, and Yamil gets more contact. And Andre Yamil has been pushed around this lap so far. So he's the big loser in that. Thomas Mumford picks up a 3-second time penalty. And you see Yamil's getting passed by Luis Wassman.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And remember, these guys have to be careful. They have been told that, because we had once 15 incidents from just F2, they have been told they need to tone it down a little bit, or the division may not be able to keep going because there's been too many incidents lately, and they have been told, so they're going to have to be a bit more careful with their moves. Right now, there's actually a good Sam there trying to pass. Oh, there's actually a threat there by, I can't say his name, it's Pearson name, what's his actual name? Egduardo, I apologize if I got your name wrong on that. In the Haas right now, in 12. It's really challenging Sam.
Eduardo Morida in the Haas, trying to battle it out with Sam Thompson. And Joe Hollis is... he just clipped that wall and broke the right front end plate off of his wing, but he was trying to give Jamie Griffiths a little bit of a hard time, but that end plate damage is definitely going to make him suffer, especially through these high-speed corners here in Canada.
That is true, of course. It's actually Joe Hollis' first race in the McLaren team, so he's back with a trusted McLaren as he used to be in Season 5. So he feels a little bit back at home as he is losing a little bit of time to Jamie, and that might also because the softs tyre degradation, they may be overheating now, as Jamie's really trying to challenge Paco Suarez for 7. Paco does have wing damage.
And we've got a battle for second going on. T. Jonas is closed in on Shea Fox. He's definitely going to have the DRS advantage down these long straightaways, especially the backstretch, your best passing opportunity. Heading into the hairpin and heading into the Champions Wall complex. I guess the Wall of Champions is what they call it.
We almost got 3 right into turn 1 with Paco and Jamie. Still side by side. The McLarens are actually fighting each other as well, but just behind.
And Suarez side.
That's McLaren.
That's Diego. And Diego is off into the grass. He's doing a donut. And he's disqualified for going the wrong way on the track. So Diego Velasco is done for the race. So his 5-second penalty, does that carry over to the next race that he finishes?
I think so, yeah, because we can't just basically add that 5-second now because he's been disqualified. So, but I will have to have some confirmation on that. I will get some confirmation for you right now as we do that. But yeah, I think it will still carry over as one of the other drivers, YWR Sturm. He's got 5 seconds as well. There's another yellows. I think that's Langfeld there. Yep, it was for Langfeld, I believe. A little bit of time there to Coops.
And Bjorn Langfell, he's all the way down to the 17th spot, struggling mightily in here's today's race. Meanwhile, T. Jonas still trying to find a way around Shea Fox. Shea was able to put a few car lengths in between him and T. Jonas, which is good news for Kevin Harrison. Harrison running down in 6th. Harrison wants to try and he's got to finish in front of T. Jonas to close that points gap at all. So the longer that Shea Fox holds up T. Jonas, the closer Kevin Harrison can get to getting around him.
Mills actually picking up the pace as well with the new fastest lap currently right now.
And this mid-pack battle here, 8th, 9th, and 10th, hasn't necessarily given up. Paco Suarez, Joe Hollis, and Sam Thompson running nose to tail. And here goes Thompson. Thompson's going to dive to the inside at the hairpin. And a great pass by Sam Thompson gets the power back down, but... Well, they'll both have DRS because they were all so close together, and it looks like we've got pit stops underway. So it looks like T. Jonas, Can Vilhoen, and Ozo Nola all dived into the pit, so these guys are going to move up a little bit.
So actually the Red Bull Ozo Nola actually got held up there by the Alpha coming in. And here comes Kelvin out, was possibly trying to challenge Chloe. No can do right now, he's got to work another lap possibly. The only people who need to make pit stops now though, lads, is Sam and Joe Hollis. They will be out of sync of everybody else who's made a pit stop on the soft tyres.
And they are those tops in their top 6. Now, the top 6 drivers, the top 7 drivers haven't made a pit stop, but as you're saying, Sam Thompson and Joe Hollis are on the softs. And the softs are only good around here for, 7 to 9 laps, so really their window is now to make this work. Otherwise, they'll start giving up too much time on track.
True, of course, as right now though, Paco and Jamie still haven't finished this fight. It's the close battle for podium spot as Guardo's just made a move actually, and the McLaren peels into the pits. As the Ferrari's giving Paco a fortunate nightmare right now, as it's a Ferrari sandwich. In theory, as we can see, Can there makes a move on the Haas after his pit stop, and he's now in 6th.
Great move by Can Vilhoen to take over that 6th spot. And as you said, Suarez is the meat in a Ferrari sandwich right now. And Sam Thompson, the only driver now, still out on track on the soft tires. And he still seems to have relatively good pace. He's keeping up with Paco Suarez and kind of hassling him a little bit. See how long before that grip starts to fall off.
Well, that's true, of course. Some drivers can really save their tyres quite a lot. I believe his rear end kicked out a little bit there as well. And he could be trying to stretch this strategy to do a one-stop soft to hard.
Whoa, and Suarez outbrakes himself, opens the door for Thompson. Thompson gets a good run coming out of the hairpin, but luckily Suarez was able to save that position for now. And now the Williams are out leading this race. 1-2 for Williams right now. Shea Fox and Ryan Herring. We see one of the Ferraris dives in. That is Sam Thompson finally going to switch over those soft tires. And now here you see Can Vilhoen diving to the inside of Suarez. Suarez doesn't necessarily want to give up the position, but Can Vilhoen gets the power back down with the fresher tires. And Can Vilhoen is up into 4th.
That is true, of course, and the gap between the leader and Can is only 12.7 seconds, I believe, right now, and now 12.6, so he is gaining.
Nelson Santos just picked up a 3-second time penalty. See Can Vilhoen now has set his sights on Jamie Griffiths.
Jamie doesn't get a good exit. But I think he's got a low downforce compared to Can, which kind of saved him. Oh, as Jamil has lagged out, unfortunately he cannot rejoin, so that is him now out as well. It's unfortunate there for the Haas.
And side by side down the back stretch, and it looks like Ken Vilhoun is going to get that move done on Jamie Gross to pick up the 3rd spot. And a 5-second time penalty for Paco Suarez speeding into the pit lane. And as you said, Andre Yamil, so his car, he's lagged out. You say he is not allowed to rejoin this race.
No, because there's a glitch with the corner cut in. When you lag out, you can literally corner cut every corner without getting a penalty. And unfortunately, Joe Hollis had that. He rejoined, and we thought it went away in Spain, and he actually did get penalised on the game, but it didn't show him that. So it's just a glitch, which unfortunately Codemasters haven't fixed, and I don't think they will fix it since the new game is coming out in July. So.
Well, that is unfortunate for Andre Yamil. He had a relatively good run going in the early part of this race, as we see T. Jonas and Jamie Griffiths now battling side by side at the hairpin, and Jonas gets a good run coming out of the hairpin, and he takes over the 4th spot. Meanwhile, Ryan Hareen has just dived into the pits. He's finally swapping over those 10-lap old mediums. He might be trying to do an undercut to his teammate here, Shay Fox, who still leads this race. Shay Fox with a 10-second lead over Ken Vilhoun, but Vilhoun just ran the fastest lap of this race.
Yeah, he did actually, as he did 11 there. I did catch that. So Can is a man on a mission right now. With that 2-stop strategy, still could win in the race. So if... Oh, Joyce actually did a Sebastian Vettel in turn 3 and 4 there. He actually cut the corner and not got a penalty. So now Can gets the first penalty as well, which is going to be crucial in this race. 3 seconds added for him.
Yeah, we're going to pick up Ozone Nola all over Ryan Hareen. Hareen just came out of the pits, and Nola is all over the back of him. And Eric Penton pointing out on the live chat that he is a Finnish driver, so if he finishes on the podium, he'd be the 2nd ever Finnish driver to get a podium in IRL, aside from Eric Penton himself.
Yeah, that is true, of course. Nola's actually quite quick with strategies, and I have seen him before manage to take some tyres way over they should go. They were only meant to last 20 laps, he managed to take them to lap 28. And that was at another track at France. So Nola's very good with his tyre wear. So in theory, the Red Bull driver could go to the end on the mediums. I know it may be a big task, but it can happen. As the Williams team have pit then.
And Shay Fox is finally coming out of the pits here after going 11 laps. And he's going to come out right in front of his teammate. So Ryan Hareen tried to go for the undercut, was the first one to pit, and it didn't work. And now we've got Shay Fox, Ryan Hareen, and Ozone Nola batting 3-car battle for the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, your leader is Ken Vilhoun back out in front to the tune of 3.5 seconds over T. Jonas. Now, Sam Thompson pitted for a new set of softs. That's an interesting strategy. So he's definitely going to have to do a 2-stopper. One, he has to switch over to a different compound because he started on soft tires, and 2, the softs are not going to last another 20 laps for sure.
Well, that is true, of course, but I've just noticed the track is getting cloudy now. Is this a tactic where there may be rain inbound? Oh, Kevin goes a bit deep as he's under threat by the other Ferrari of Jamie right now as they're going side by side, as Kevin is struggling against his championship rival. So Jonas is in 2nd place right now. Kevin's only in 8th.
And once again, a driver finds themselves. Oh, and there goes one of the Ferraris. Oh, he's into the wall. That was Sam Thompson.
Oh, safety car.
Safety car, hard into the wall. Sam Thompson goes, and I was just saying another driver finds himself in the middle of a Ferrari sandwich, but the bread fell off of that one. And Sam Thompson has left the session. That is unfortunate, and I wonder if you're right about the track is starting to cloud up, so I wonder if Sam was taking that gamble running softs until possibly rain does show up. But it looks like maybe the track temperature fell and he lost grip heading to that corner. He lost grip really early on in that corner. It was obviously the Wall of Champions complex, but it looks like he lost grip heading into the corner under braking. A very weird looking accident.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And also, like, when we go on broadcast view on the track, there's a little bit of a shine there, and that usually sometimes indicates that there is rain due. So, rain could be near the end of the race. Maybe this is why some people are on hard tyres, of course, as well, with Mumford and Louis and Langfeld. But they have made their pit stops, of course, as Can's actually pitted also for another fresh medium tyres. So he thinks possibly those mediums could go to the end.
And that was going to be my next question. Does anybody take advantage of this safety car and pit for a fresh set of tires? And it looks like we actually do have quite a few takers. And this is going to put Shea Fox back out in front with Ryan Hareen. So Williams still running 1 and 2. And I got to tell you, that'd be a beautiful thing to see in reality. But this is the best we're going to get right now is a Williams 1-2 here in IRL F2.
Yeah,
Can's going to come out in third. T. Jonas has dropped to fourth, and he's put on a fresh set of hards as well. Jamie Griffith stays out. Paco Suarez stays out. Ozo Nola switches over to a fresh set of hards, as does Nelson Santos. Now Kevin Harrison has switched over to a fresh set of mediums.
So he's definitely still sticking to that two-stop strategy then.
And Andre Yamil is... Oh, that's right. Andre is lagged out, so his car is inconsequential at this point.
Louis on hards, Langfeld on hards, Keepers on mediums.
So... the look of this race has changed a little bit with the clouds rolling in. Possibility, the threat of rain in the area.
It is really cloudy, but that could be just a cloudy race all the way through. There could be no rain at all, so you should be careful that you don't get, or Shea Fox has to be careful that you don't get too close to the safety car, because it will destroy your car. How fast you go into it, it will literally just wreck the car right now. There's one thing I would like to ask the Williams. How are they going to make this strategy now work? Because Can's gone on a fresh set of mediums. You could try and take them to the end. This could have ruined the Williams strategy of trying to get a 1-2 in this race, because now they've got to think what tyres go next after the mediums.
I mean, we're halfway through this race. Well, right now you're under the safety car, so you're at least saving tire temperature and tire wear a little bit. So I don't think that there's a whole lot of team communication between Shea Fox and Ryan Hareen. They both seem to be a little bit of a lone wolf with each other. So there may not be any team orders there. It'd be interesting to see if one tries to stay out through the course of this race on the mediums if rain doesn't come. But how much time would he give up on track would be the next question.
Yeah, he's going to have to build an 18-second gap, these two, anyway, if they want to try, if Candy's going to the end. Because the pit stop around here is roughly around about 18 seconds. It would be 20, but you could basically turn one with that quick pit exit, so it's going to be very interesting, and I think the safety car is going to go out for another lap then.
Yeah, I think this will probably be the last lap for the safety car, which gives a little bit of a reprieve for the Williams guys as they can save them tires. But really, it looks like T. Jonas might be sitting in the catbird seat. Maybe Can Vohun. I mean, there's not a whole lot of difference between Shea Fox and Can's tire wear. I mean, 2 laps, maybe not. But it looks like T. Jonas might be sitting in the catbird seat as the first driver on the hard tires. He's actually a relatively quick driver as well, so...
Yeah, that is true, of course, and he could do this strategy and take him to the end, so that's another thing what the Williams and Can's going to have to take into account. Jonas may not be quick on those hards at the start, but he's still going to be a factor. You're going to have to build that pit stop gap if you want to try and win the race. Because he's definitely going to the end. There's no way those hards on.
Now, the 2 guys I'm most concerned about would be Paco Suarez and Joe Hollis. They both have 6 and 8 laps on their tires, respectively, and the mid-pack battle today has been relatively hard fought between a lot of different drivers, so there's probably a lot more stress on those tires than normal. considering the amount of racing that we've seen on track. And the safety car is coming in this lap.
Yeah, that is true. With Paco in 6th and Joe in 8th, and those tyre wear of tyres, but mediums can, I think, last 15 laps until they need to pit for new ones. So they've still got probably a little bit of tyre life, but they're not going to have that much grip, as he says. Grip is crucial. As we did see Sam earlier, didn't have any grip at all, and unfortunately lost it to the World Champions, and that's why we have the safety car.
And now Shay Fox will be the control car. Ryan Hareen's trying to stick with him. And it looks like, here we go. Looks like we're back under green flag racing. Remember, you can't pass before the start finish. Nola picks up a 3-second time penalty coming through the Wall of Champions complex. Canville Hoon all over the backside of Ryan Hareen already. And the top 3 have already checked out. And we've got T. Jonas already making a move on Jamie Griffiths. Actually, that's Griffiths trying to make a move on T. Jonas for the 4th spot. And there's drivers picking up 3-second time penalties all over the place. Joe Hollis, Nelson Santos. I think I saw one more name in there that I didn't catch. Oh, and a big wiggle by T. Jonas as he comes out of there. Griffiths lost a little bit of time to that.
Here comes Can then on Ryan, and he just overtakes him really easily there. That complex of corners. Yeah, he's moved there from the racing point.
And Canville Hoon makes the pass on Ryan Hareen. So he's going to set his sights on Shay Fox as his next victim. And Shay's checked out to his 2nd gap over that battle, but Canville Hoon is coming.
That's true, of course. To join us then, doesn't really have to worry about Joe right now. Paco's, with the new front wing he's got, of course, he ain't got that wing damage anymore, will be a lot faster. And also could challenge these two, as he's losing a bit of straight line pace though because of the slipstream that Jimmy is getting on stress.
And we pick up Jamie Griffiths trying to stick with T. Jonas here. And Jonas, your championship points leader. And he's going to be able to extend to that points lead as it were right now. Kevin Harrison down in the 10th spot. Harrison struggling today a little bit.
Yeah, that is true. Kevin in 10th. This isn't good for his championship, as he is possibly could be the first F2 driver to do back-to-back championship. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it last season because he beat me, and maybe this season Kevin can't do it. Jonas actually maybe the first Norwegian actually to get the championship as well. So right now it is anybody's game. There's still a lot of rounds left in the season.
And Canville Hoon is all over the gearbox of Shay Fox. Shay's trying to break up the slipstream a little bit. He's going to make Canville Hoon go to the outside. He cuts back across. Cam lost a little bit of time there heading through the chicane, and now the DRS is enabled. And Eduardo makes a pass on Joe Hollis to take over the 8th spot. Oh, Thomas Mumford is disqualified from the session. He has ignored a drive-through penalty. And that is going to ruin his day.
That's unfortunate for him. It might have not popped up though. If he might have had the glitch, but if it did pop up, you were actually meant to say that within a few laps. We didn't get notification that he got one.
I am not 100% sure on that. I saw a lot of things flashing at the bottom of the screen during the opening lap of the restart. And Canville Hoon is still all over the back of the Williams of Shay Fox. And it may have flashed across and I missed it. There was a lot of time penalties popping up on that opening lap of the restart. So
you can then.
Can to the outside, and that's not going to work. I don't think he's close enough. He backs out of it, smart enough to back out of it.
That was very smart. As Paco Suarez now is starting to hound Jamie. Could make me into turn 1. He's on the inside. Gets there. He has to see that Jim's still there.
Oh, and Suarez tries to get the power down, but it looks like Griffith's going to get the better exit coming out of there.
That is true, of course. As Jimmy gets 3-second time penalty though.
Well, that's going to hurt him. Obviously, time penalties will definitely be a factor at the end of this race. Canville Hoon still all over the back of Shay Fox, trying to figure out a way to get around him. Shay Fox has made that car very wide, defending his position very good right now. Down the straightaway, he's going to be heading into the hairpin. Now Fox is going to need a good exit out of here to try and give himself a little bit of a gap over Ken Vilhoen. Vilhoen's going to have the DRS advantage. We're riding on board with him right now. And here we go, above 200 miles an hour. Oh, and he's still not close enough to make a move. You see him making the adjustments on the steering wheel. We stick with him. Still riding on board to see if he makes a move down into turn 1. Nope, he will not. And Eduardo Morita just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. So Shea Fox doing a great job defending that top spot. Nelson Santos just picked up a 3-second time penalty. And really what's happening now is Shea Fox actually looks like he's losing a little bit of time to the drivers behind him. Obviously, Ken Vilhoen's been hounding him, but Ryan Hareen is starting to get within a second of Ken Vilhoen, and T. Jonas is within a second of Ryan Hareen. So the top 4 are starting to come together. Uh-oh, and Ken Vilhoen makes the move to the inside. Shea Fox is going to lose out on it. But now Fox is going to have the slipstream. He doesn't have the DRS advantage. He's trying to stick with him.
There's a bigger battle behind as well. Paco and Jamie still at it.
Paco and Jamie Grivenson now have swapped positions a number of times. So that's a 3-car battle because that's Ozone Nola behind him. Ozone running in the 7th spot. So that's a 3-car battle for 5th. And basically a 4-car battle for the top spot. And it looks like the sun is coming back out, so possibly no rain going to be for this race. The sun's starting to shine on the track again. A little bit of an overcast day with clouds rolling through, but now the track temperature is going to go up. And all those tire strategies we talked about might be out the window at this point. T. Jonas still looks like he's probably sitting in the best seat on those hard tires.
Yeah, that is true, of course. He did actually try and challenge Ryan into, it was Paco gets penalty, but he did try to challenge Ryan into turn 1. If I was Jonas, I'd just back off. Oh, Joe Hollis has crashed.
Well, when Hollis is out of this race in Sector 3, that is disappointing. That looks like the...
It's actually manually retired in the pits.
Actually retired it into the pits, so... Which is the proper thing to do. But there's a yellow flag in Sector 3.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Well, you can manually retire as long as it's in the pits, but if you manually retire like unfortunately Nino did yesterday in F1 and cause a safety car, it can be investigated and you could get penalised because of it. And also if your AI does take out other people, as Harry's, I believe, crashed, or he's gone in. Oh yeah, Harry lost it for the World Champions, and he's really struggling to keep that car on track. It's unfortunate for him.
Meanwhile, back to the battle for the lead. Shea Fox is, even though Ken Vilhoen's gotten around Shea Fox, he hasn't really pulled away from him at all. So Fox has still got some really good pace on those 11-lap-old mediums. Ken Vilhoen only 9 laps on his tires, though, so not a whole lot of difference there in the lap count.
Yeah, that is true, of course. They're not that much different on tyres, and also that safety car would have saved the Williams tyres a little bit well. So those three will be pitting again then. But here comes Shea Fox. He's thinking about going on the inside, but he's behind. So just some interesting information. Unfortunately, Jamil has decided to leave IRL. Unfortunately, he's due to some personal issues, and he will be possibly coming back. He said he would like to come back in the future. So unfortunately, Jamil has called it a day for the Haas F1 team.
That's a shame. Andre Yamil had a couple of good runs earlier this season. He definitely had a good run going at Spain, where he stayed out under a safety car on the hard tires and held that top position for quite some time. Had a good run going early on at Monaco. I watched him race in GTR earlier this season. So the guy's got some speed, definitely a good driver, so unfortunately we're going to have to lose him due to personal matters. Certainly wish him the best of luck in his next endeavor, and hopefully we'll see him back here at IRL here soon. Meanwhile, Canville Hoon still trying to hold off Shay Fox, and Shay's lost a little bit of ground. He's still going to have that DRS advantage coming down the backstretch here, but he's not going to be close enough to make a move for sure.
As Kevin and Noel is actually fighting. Red Bull versus Alpha. And look how close Red Bull's giving him room. Not that much room, but unfortunately Kevin's got that DRS, so he's going to get a bit of extra speed down the straight. Ooh!
Oh, that's a big moment there for Ozone. That is,
I don't know what happened there. Ozone just...
I didn't have a good look at it. I had a head-on look of Kevin coming at us. And I don't know if maybe Andre just missed... Not Andre. If Ozone misjudged the braking point, or if there was a bit of a desync in that, or a lag. That's hard to tell from the angle that we had. Unfortunate for Ozone Nola, but he's going to switch over to the soft tires.
That is true, of course. And there's some good news for Can right now. His teammate is an 8, and he's holding up one of the
and T. Jonas just throwing that car through turns 1 and 2. Ryan Hareen has dived into the pits for a fresh set of softs. So T. Jonas finds himself sitting on the podium. Shay Fox and Canville Hoon still battling it out for this top spot, though. I got to say, I think it's too early. Oh, and you see that Shay Fox is going to dive into the pits. I think it's too early to switch over to soft tires.
Yeah, there's... Well, we did say soft tires could go 8 laps, so it is possible they could go to the end, but Jonas doesn't have to worry about this, as he doesn't need a pit. Can may stretch these tires to the end, which may be a disadvantage there for Jonas. But right now, Can's going to be a bit happy that Louis did held up Ryan a little bit. Let's see how much time Ryan lost. Yeah, Ryan lost a lot of time there to Shay.
And I got to tell you, once again, Kevin Harrison somehow finds himself sitting in a podium position late in the race through obscure and alternate race strategies. Oh, and Suarez is retired from the session. What has happened to Paco?
It looks like he's lost it through turn 1.
We'll pick up Andre Yamil's AI car. We'll see if we can get a look at Suarez. Suarez is way off the
I think he's just misjudged his braking point, or he's been spun or something's gone completely wrong and he's just lost it completely.
So that is too bad for Paco Suarez, coming off of a huge win for himself last week at Monaco. Meanwhile, T. Jonas, the championship points leader. Oh, look at this, Shay Fox making a move around Bjorn Langfell, so Shay Fox moves into the 4th spot. T. Jonas trying to close the gap into Canvo Hoon. He's got it down to 2.1 seconds. Shay Fox, though, is going to be a man on a mission for the next few laps. He's got the fresh set of softs. He's going to try and chase down Kevin Harrison, who finds himself in the 3rd spot, 10.5 seconds behind second place T. Jonas.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And these will be, if Kevin can try and catch up a little bit, but those mediums won't be helping, unfortunately. He will need to pit. Those mediums, he could be in punch territory. This is where Can and Kevin could be in punch territory, and it could cost them a race. They could actually retire with the puncher, of course.
And we've got Ryan Hareen getting ready to go around Bjorn Langfell as he heads into the hairpin. He's also on a fresh set of softs. So the Williams both ran a very, very similar tire strategy all race. And I said earlier that I don't think that there was much communication between these two drivers, but maybe they did talk, or maybe they are in a party talking about tire strategy, because they've both run a very similar race to each other. Shay Fox being the faster driver in this race over Ryan Hareen.
Speaking about Shay Fox being the fastest driver, he's just done the new fast start, 110.3. So right now, Shay is a man on a mission. He's already caught Kevin then with a couple of laps. Now, the gap between Kevin and Jonas is around about 10 seconds, 10 to 11 seconds, so, and they've only got a few laps left, so if Shay wants to beat Jonas, he's going to have to pick up the pace a lot more. And I think Can is going to the end of this race right now.
I mean, you almost have to at this point. I mean, if you pit now, you're going to end up coming out 5th, 6th, and you're going to give up so much position on track. I mean, it's a gamble. Do you feel like you're going to lose more ground in the pits, or are you going to lose more ground staying out on old tires? It's a hard call. And look at this, Shay Fox trying to figure out how to get around Kevin Harrison. Harrison, last year's F2 champion, not going to make it easy for him, but Fox is going to have the good run. He's on the outside. He's got the fresher tires. He's got the DRS slot open. Everything working to his advantage. But Harrison sticking with him, and Fox is going to cut across his nose heading into the chicane. And a great move. And Nelson Santos just picked up a spot getting by Luis Wassman down the backstretch with the advantage of the DRS.
It's true, as Kevin then has now gone out already out of DRS. I think Kevin's got a bit of damage. I don't know if that is... No, he hasn't actually. It looked like he had wing damage there.
We got a three-car battle going on here for the 7th spot. Nelson Santos in the Renault, Luis Wassman in the Racing Point, and Jamie Griffiths in that Ferrari.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, Santos won't be scoring any points for the Renault team. Oh, there's a bit of contact there from the Ferrari.
Oh, and Wassman gets pushed wide and into the grass.
So not around the Racing Point there. He touched there. It just looked like Louis just lost it, but after he got hit, and the rear just was uncontrollable. Lost a little bit of time. So round driver gets a 3-second time penalty. So Jonas has now started to pick up the pace now to Can. Gap now 1.7 seconds. It was 2 seconds in last lap. So.
It was 2.4 at one point, so now it's down to 1.6. So T. Jonas is coming. The question is that Jonas picking up the pace, or is that Ken Vilhoen losing pace because of worn tires? 4 laps left remaining in this race.
Well, I think those tyres are not going to make it to the end. If he makes it to the end, it's going to be a miracle and still wins this race. It would be a big miracle. Jonas isn't that far off. 1.6 seconds, and there's a few laps left of this race, so he's going to have to pick up pace a little bit more if he wants to try and win this race and score crucial points over Kevin. Speaking about Kevin is threat by Ryan right now.
Meanwhile, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Nelson Santos, Luis Wassman. Wassman's getting hounded by Ozone Nola as he comes out of the 1-2 complex. Nola all over the gearbox. Sorry, that wasn't the 1-2 complex. That was out of the 7-8. Oh, and to the inside, Nola. Going to get the power down, and now it's a drag race between him and Wassman, and it looks like they bump wheels just a little bit. They're still bumping, and there's a huge crash between Wassman and Nola. And I got to say, that might be the deciding factor. I don't think Nola's going to like the actions of Wassman.
Yeah, I only just caught that. Unfortunately, I wasn't on board with that. I was on board with Kevin getting overtaken by Ryan, and that was a hefty impact. I don't know what happened there. Did they lock tyres? Was it just wheel banging? Or...
It looks like it was a little bit of wheel banging and just some pushing and shoving. And one guy pushed, the other one pushed back and forth they went. And I'm sure that'll get looked at after the race by the stewards. Tough break for Luis Wassman, and Eduardo just picked up another 3-second time penalty.
That is true, of course. Jonas now is 1.3 seconds off. He lost a little bit of time by making a mistake on the chicanes, but he is gaining, and he's gaining quickly, as we'll be on lap 33 very shortly, as Khan is probably starting to get a little bit scared now that Jonas is starting to close up quite quickly on those hards.
Definitely got T. Jonas breathing down his neck. And it looks like Kevin Harrison is going to try and do the same strategy as Cam Vilhoen and just stay out on those mediums and hope for the best. Bjorn Langfell is 6.6 seconds back from Harrison for the 5th spot, so that might work to his advantage. Ozone and Luis Wassman find themselves not separated from each other on the track, and they're still banging wheels. Wassman just gave him a little bit of a shoulder check. And T. Jonas now within striking distance of Can Vilhoen. He's going to have the DRS advantage as they come down the backstretch. He's deep into the braking zone at the hairpin, trying to get that power down. Can Vilhoen has got to be shaking in his boots. Meanwhile, Ozone and Luis Wassman swap spots again. And these two, I don't think... oh, and Ozone's into the wall. And Wassman's still trying to race with him, but I don't know if these two... I don't think these guys like each other very much.
Oh, they have to be clean, because if they don't, they're going to get...
Oh, and they're not. Wassman just not penalized him, but Wassman just hit him again. And I'm going to pick up the battle for the lead here. You may want to keep your eyes on the Wassman-Ozone debacle.
Yeah, I will.
And a 3-second time penalty for Nelson Santos. T. Jonas sliding the back end of his car coming out of that turn, trying to get that power down. The penultimate lap, and Ken Vilhoen is hanging on to this lead. Jonas just cut that corner massively, so that had to be a warning, I'm sure. And into the hairpin. Ken Vilhoen's going to try and get the power down, but T. Jonas has got the DRS slot open. He's going to use everything he's got. DRS, ERS, full fuel. He goes around the outside. Oh, and he cuts over and crosses the nose of Ken Vilhoen. Vilhoen had to go hard onto the brakes to make sure that they didn't collide with each other. So I don't know that Ken will report that at the end of this, but a good move nonetheless. And Ken Vilhoen finds himself in second. And we're just going to do a quick check back to this Luis Wassman and Ozone Nola battle that's been going on. And now it's a 3-car battle. Now Harry Cooper showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know what these two are doing.
And it looks like Nola's got more wing damage. And Anthony Johnson on the live chat saying, come on, guys. Oh, no, and Nola into the wall of champions again.
Santos retired. The other Reynolds crashed out in turn 3 there.
We'll pick up Andre Yamil, see if we can see...
Okay, right. Well, that's all I need.
And I take it Ozone has dumped Luis Wassman.
Yeah, he went for a saloon car and just rear-ended him. They're bad as each other today. I don't know what they're playing at. What I think he's going to do. Oh, as we've just missed out the win, please don't do what I think he's going to do.
Well, we'll get back to the win. T. Jonas picks it up. Ken Vilhoen comes across second. Ryan Hareen finds himself in the 3rd spot because of time penalties. Shea Fox is 4th. Kevin Harrison comes across 5th. Jamie Griffiths is 7th. Bjorn Langfell is 6th. Time penalties coming in, obviously. Eduardo Merida coming across the line 8th. Andre Yamil, Andre will not get credit for his finishing position of the car. Is that correct? I mean, how does that work? His car's going to come across 9th.
Yeah, Jamil's, because if he lagged out within the 90% run, then yeah, he would have got points. But unfortunately, he didn't. So Harry will take 9th.
So Harry will take 9th, and Luis Wassman will find himself with 1 championship point after all of that. So... Not a great debut for Ozone Nola, and I've seen him race in HTA RL and with no issues. So,
oh, you're kidding! My footage didn't record, so I have none of that footage.
Are you serious?
I clicked record at the start of the race, and it hasn't recorded any of the footage. Why has that done that?
Well, we see T. Jonas celebrating on the top step of the podium again. He's going to extend his championship points lead over Kevin Harrison. He had an 11-point lead coming into today's race, and once again he finds himself batting 1,000, 5 for 5. That's 5 races with 5 podium finishes. Here's the unofficial results as of now and what we know. T. Jonas with the win. Ken Vilhoen with a hard-fought 2nd place. Ryan Hareen comes home 3rd. Shea Fox is 4th. Kevin Harrison 5th. Bjorn Langfell is 6th. Jamie Griffiths is 7th. Eduardo Merida is 8th. Harry Cooper is going to get 9th. Luis Wassman will be credited with 10th place as Andre Yamil lagged out early on in this race. And then 12th through 18th is all DNFs. That is Ozone Nola, Nelson Santos, Paco Suarez, Joe Hollis, Sam Thompson, Thomas Mumford, and Diego Velasco.
That is unfortunate. Unfortunately, I am actually annoyed that I didn't have that footage, but either way, I can. Yeah,
well, we have some of it on the live stream, and I'm sure Luis Wassman, even if Wassman doesn't report anything, commentator's opinion, you may want to ask for some footage anyways, because I don't think that was all ozone in that debacle. And Eric Penton on the live chat saying Kevin has to dig deep if he wants to beat T. Jonas this season. And Eric, I think you're right on that remark there. Or if wet weather becomes a factor, Kevin Harrison will probably put on one of his masterclass races and walk away with that win. So,
well, it's unfortunate for Kevin, as you know, Tijonis doesn't really practice that often for F2, but when he practiced, he would be F1 pace if he practiced. So Tijonis, he's quick, and he is my favourite to win this championship. As I said, I'm not in it because I'm on wheel now. So I would say Kevin, I'd like to see him win it, but I think Tijonis is going to take the championship in the end.
And this is a relatively short season in compared to, I mean, obviously you guys aren't running a full season because the new game is coming out. But I mean, looking at it, Ryan Hareen could be a little bit of a dark horse. I mean, he was only 22 points back from T. Jonas, and obviously 11 points back from Harrison going into the race. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that the top three there could switch things up a little bit. Ken Vilhoen made his mark today with a podium finish, so good on him. So good points today for Racing Point, even though Luis Wassman's only going to get credited for 1 point due to everything else going on.
That's true, of course.
And Luis Wassman is on the live chat saying he's done. And looks like last time he had an incident with Maxi. This time it's obviously Ozone Nola. So Luis Wassman, which is too bad. Wassman's a really good driver. He's a very fast driver. But again, I think those incidences, there was a little bit of back and forth there between both drivers. You can't blame one fully over the other. It was definitely some back and forth between both. So.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And that Ozone was actually at fault earlier, actually, when he just rear-ended Kevin. So I don't know right now. There's a few drivers complained, and it will be investigated by the Stewart's team, of course. And well, penalties or whatever happens will be delivered.
And it looks like Paco Suarez has some choice words for him as well. So too bad for Suarez and Luis Wassman, but really an interesting race nonetheless. A good, hard-fought battle for the lead there. T. Jonas coming out on top once again. And moving into the next round. What is the next round?
Next round is France, I believe. Let me get the calendar up. Yeah, and it is France.
Circuit Paul Ricard. I will say this, Paul Ricard is not one of my favorite circuits. It's actually fairly horrendous in reality, but it has made for some good online racing. I'll give it that much. Between SRL and IRL, the races at Paul Ricard have been fairly entertaining, despite it being more of a landing strip than a racetrack, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is true. Do you want me to suggest the top three for you?
Yeah, we can get them in here for some interviews real quick.
The top three was Tijonis, Khan, and
Ryan Hareen.
Ryan, so
able to snatch that last podium spot from Shea Fox due to time penalties.
So Tijonis, Ryan, and Khan. I don't think Khan will join, but
Cam didn't join last week. I don't think Ryan joined the week before that, so we might just have T. Jonas in the booth with us. But we'll see what we can make happen here. And I do want to give a shout out to Anthony Johnson, as I do every week. I'm glad he's been joining us on the live streams. Still trying to talk him into getting back in the car. So, Anthony, if you want to join, by no means look at what Ozone Nola did today on track. That is something that will be handled. So don't think that all the drivers act that way here in IRL. I do think you guys do a fairly decent job, especially with your Discord. The way you guys have that organized for incidences and how the penalties are divvied out. You guys do a really good job with that. T. Jonas joining us in the booth here. Once again, you find yourself on the top step of the podium. It was looking like it wasn't going to happen. Canville Hoon gave you a hard time, but you were able to finally make the pass. How was the race for you?
It was an interesting one. Didn't really think that I would beat Can today. He was quite rapid. So I knew that these tires were gonna be a bit worn at the end of the race, but I thought that he might have kept them cool a bit longer. So yeah, I was lucky that they just fell off the cliff a couple of laps before the finish.
Yeah, we were actually talking about it at the safety car, that you were the first driver on the hard tires in the top 4. We kind of thought you might be in the catbird seat, seeing that there were so many laps left in the race, and really if Can wanted to have any shot at taking the win, he was going to have to run them all the way to the end. So your tire strategy definitely played off. How was it through the first opening few laps? It seemed a little hectic there for the first few laps, a lot of hard-fought racing and some melees on track. I mean, did any of that affect you at all?
Not really. I had a decent start and just stayed behind Machine Fishy and Can. I got bumped into the first corner by someone behind me. I was lucky not to get damaged there, so yeah, I got unharmed, or I went unharmed out of the first couple of laps.
Then you obviously extending your points lead again today. It's 5 straight races that you've had a podium finish. Something you think you'll be able to do throughout the course of this whole season? Will we be looking at a 6th podium next week at Paul Ricard?
I'll definitely go for it. Paul Ricard is I like it. I like to drive it. So hopefully I'll be up in the top 3 next week as well.
Well, congratulations on your win. It doesn't look like the other 2 drivers are going to join us for interviews, so congratulations on another big win. That's your 2nd win of the season. And again, you're going to extend your points lead. Jared, any questions for T. Jonas while we got him?
Just keep fighting, mate. Keep winning, and just keep beating Kevin. That's just your main target for me.
I think Jared's a little biased since Kevin was his contender last year for the championship.
Yeah. But no, it's been a very good race from everybody, except a few incidents which will be solved, of course, and but yeah, it'll all be resolved with any instance which will be reported. And congratulations, Jonas, on your win, and well deserved.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, and I think that'll wrap it up here. So this has been IRL F2. This is the 7th season for International Racing League. It's the 3rd season for the F2 tier. This has been round 5 at Canada. A great race, a hard-fought win by T. Jonas, making the last couple laps to go to get around Canville Hoon. And be sure to check us out. Like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitter at F1_IRL. I believe that's what it is. Is that correct?
IRL Twitter. IRL, it says on the... I think they might have actually changed it now to IRL Twitter, but do try that link, what Lance just said there.
And be sure to keep up all the news and notes. And be sure, like I said, like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. They've got the F1, F2, and F3 races. All the championships are relatively close. A lot of good drivers. And it's nice to see a league that has so many drivers sign up that you had to run multiple tiers. So good on you for that. And you guys have done a good job keeping the competitiveness between the tiers relatively close for all the drivers. So that's going to do it for us for today. Be sure to check us out next week, same time, same channel, except it's going to be Paul Ricard. We'll see everybody at the next round.